Okay, so now we are going to look at the actual debtors reconciliation. So they have provided us with the balances of certain things within our financial records. So we have now recorded all of our subsidiary journals using our source documents, and we have then added all of the totals and posted those totals of the journals to our debtors control account to get to a balance of 21,020 Rand at a month in 31 May. Then when we compared that to our debtors list, so this is now us taking our subsidiary journals and posting those to the individual debtors accounts, we saw that the balance there does not agree to the balance that we had in our debtors control account. And remember that we said that these two need to be the same because the subsidiary journals are posted to both the general ledger and the debtors ledger. So those balances must be the same because both of them reflect now the summary of the debtors transactions. So your first step is to start with the incorrect balances. So incorrect balance as per the debtors control account, as well as the incorrect balances as per the debtors list. So we now need to just quickly add to our debtors list. I see now M. Mary and E. Boyson, not the same, but we will just work with that. So our debtor Boyson, I'm going to stick to that because I know the adjustments also refer to Boyson, is 3,810 is our incorrect balance. And then 4,790 for Stevens, and then 8,340. And the last one had an incorrect balance of 2,690. And we now need to go to the additional information. My apologies. We need to go to the information to see where things went wrong so we can now fix whatever went wrong for the two balances to agree. You just need to bear with me with the writing of this thing. The handwriting looks terrible, but yes, at least we can see what it is. So the first one there says that Stevens, so here we have C. Stevens, his account must be written off as he cannot be traced. So in other words, we must now write this off as a bad debt. So we are going to start in our journals because that is the first point of entry. And we are going to debit the expense bad debts. And we now need to remove whatever he owes us. We need to remove that from his account. So he no longer owes us 4,790 because we are writing it off as a bad debt. But in order for this transaction to reflect in my debtors list, I first had to record it in my general journal. And remember, if you are now recording a new transaction or you are recording something in one of your journals, that gets posted to the debtors individual ledger account as well as your general ledger. So not only are you going to remove it from the debtors individual account, you also have to show that overall your debtors, so your debtors control, is decreasing because of this bad debt. You can also, if you want to, you can add the debtor's name. I'm just going to say here, bad debts. And the instruction was that I must indicate with a minus when I'm going to decrease this account, and I'm going to decrease it by 4,790 Rand. He no longer owes me that amount. Decrease the overall debtors and the individual debtors account. Then an EFT received from E. Boyson, so E. Boyson, was not recorded correctly in the journal and the general ledger. So you have not recorded this, was recorded correctly, my gosh. You have now recorded this correctly in both your journal. So in other words, you received it, you recorded this in your CRJ, correct, and then you posted the CRJ to your debtors control account, and that was correct. However, you forgot to post this to his individual account as well. So the journal is correct, your debtors control account is correct. However, in his individual account, you have not yet credited his account showing that he made payment to you. So you just have to now show he owes you 1,500 Rand less. Then the total of the sales column in the debtors journal was overcast by 2,210 Rand. So remember, we post individual transactions to the individual debtors accounts, and that goes to your debtors list, your debtors ledger. But totals are posted to the debtors control account in the general ledger. Therefore, if you made a mistake with the adding up of a total, then you have to fix it in your debtors control account. So what you did is you said that you had more sales in this debtors account. Did I now write the correct word, or did I write what I was saying? We'll see now. It's just a slight delay there. So you said that you had 2,210 Rand more in sales than what you actually had. So there we go. Overstated. So you now need to remove the overstated amount, because you cannot have inaccurate financial statements. You must only have the credit sales, the correct credit sales as per the debtors journal. So you did your adding again, and you found that you added a random 2,210 Rand. Okay, so just remove that one. Then you also undercast your debtors allowances journal. So there was also an undercast. Undercast. So what this means is you were supposed to post to your debtors control account an amount for debtors that returned goods to you. You have to remember that the DAJ results in your debtors owing you less money. So in other words, you credited your debtors control. But you, by mistake, credited that debtors control with 280 Rand too little. Because undercast means when I added all of the totals, I somehow missed a 280 Rand. So I now need to subtract, so I need to deduct a further 280 Rand from my debtors, because there was an undercast. I made a mistake with the adding. I had less than what I should have, and debtors allowances journal results in my debtors owing me less money. Right. Then number 5 says E. Peterson returned goods to the value of 1,110 Rand, but the bookkeeper recorded this as a credit sale. So the bookkeeper was supposed to say that they are debiting debtors allowances and crediting debtors control, thereby decreasing the individual debtors account in the debtors ledger. However, the accountant or bookkeeper didn't do that. The bookkeeper said this is a new credit sale. Therefore, I must correct what went wrong. So this was actually a return. So I need to now subtract 1,110 Rand from my debtors control, because I now need to reverse the incorrect entry. But then I'm on a zero balance, because previously I recorded an incorrect credit sale, and now I have removed that. I've reversed that entry. But I still need to take into account that this debtor no longer owes me 1,110 Rand because he returned the goods to me. So when you have an error in the books that you have recorded a transaction as a credit sale and it should have been a debtor's allowance, then you need to remove it twice, because you are first fixing what went wrong, and then you are recording the correct entry. Did you hear there? Recording the correct entry. In other words, I'm now in my journal. And if it's in my journal, it means that I must still post it to both the general ledger and the debtors ledger. So I need to go to that account of E. Peterson, and I have to say he doesn't owe me 2,220 of his outstanding balance because I've removed the incorrect invoice that I've added to his account, and I have now recorded the return that he made. Then number 6 there says that goods were sold on credit for 2,440 Rand. However, this was entered correctly in the journal and the general ledger, but not to the individual debtor's account. So this was entered correctly in the DJ, then posted correctly to my debtor's control account. But when I then took that same transaction and posted it to his ledger account, I made a mistake and I forgot a 400 Rand. So I just need to go to his account and I have to say, I made a mistake. It wasn't 2,040 Rand. It was actually that plus another 400 Rand. And that was the last one that we had there. So now we just have to add our totals. We started off with an incorrect debtors control balance. We then said that we had to write off bad debts, so minus. Also, we by accident overstated our sales. We actually had less sales, so minus that. Then we also have to minus the 280 because we calculated our totals in the DAJ incorrectly. And then we have to correct that incorrect credit sale that was actually not a credit sale and account for the return. So 11,512. 512, 520. There we go. And this balance should now be the same as the balance that you have here for your debtors. So that's what we are working towards. We want them to agree. So let's see. We currently have 3,810 for Boyson, but we have to still remove that EFT. So it is 2,310. Come on, wakey, wakey. There we go. And then we wrote off the bad debts of Stephen. So he owes us nothing. We added on the 400 Rand of the invoice that we missed for Safefish. So whatever, I don't know how to pronounce that one. Who knows? Okay. And then we had to deduct 2,220 from the account of Peterson. So he now owes us, oh, not the 2. No, what am I doing? Let me just quickly remove that. Go away. Go away. There we go. So he only owes us 470 Rand. And as we know, I never trust my own math. 220, 470. So let's quickly add those totals. We have the 2,310 plus 8,740 plus 470, and we have a balance of 11,520. It's the same as my debtors control. So always look out for where did the mistake occur? What must I do to now get rid of this mistake? Did it go wrong in my journals, or was it just when I posted it to either debtors control or then the debtors ledger where the mistake came in, and then just fix it there?